Yes. Hello.
Hello. How are
Hi,
you, Mr.
Abeywardena.
Abeywardena?
Hi. Very pleased to meet you.
Yes, really
Hi,
nice to have you on our show.
My pleasure.
How's everything going on these
Good.
days?
Good. Thank you.
I'm sure you're very busy as always.
Yes. I have a very tight schedule on a daily basis.
So thank you very much for having.
Most welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Abeywardena, you have reached the pinnacle of your career. And interestingly, you're the first career stockbroker to become the chairman of Colombo Stock Exchange. Let's talk about the lovely journey.
Thank you for your kind words. I wouldn't say that I have done so amazingly well. I think there's a lot more to do, but thank God I have achieved what I have achieved to date. And I think it was the fact that I am the first industry individual to have risen to become the chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange is quite pertinent, and more than it being a recognition for me, I think it is an accolade for the industry itself to show that there are people who have the capabilities to rise from within the industry to the helm of the stockbroking industry or to head the Colombo Stock Exchange. So in that aspect, I'm happy that an industry person was able to rise to this position, and I'm humbled by what you said, so thank you so much for that. It's been a very long and hard journey. There has been the ups and downs. Market conditions also from time to time have not been very conducive, and we have had times over the years where excuse me, the market was in the doldrums for a while, but we have survived. I think resilience is something that most brokers need to have as a trait. You need to be patient, you need to hang in there, and I think I have been blessed with those strengths. And yeah, so I have been, this is my 32nd year in the capital markets in Sri Lanka, and of that I have spent the last 20 years. In 1998 I was appointed as CEO of a stockbroking firm, so I have spent the last 20 years in senior management. So there have been my fair share of challenges, but as I said, through the grace of God, I have been able to achieve it.
32 years is a long journey, and you have done amazingly well, and you have proved it right as well. And also, you emphasize the word survived. So how did you survive in the industry? And also these challenges, or the word challenge is not a new word for you. So how did you overcome these challenges and survive in the industry?
Primarily, I think when one is an investment advisor or a stockbroker, one has to have an integrity that is unblemished. One needs to be able to provide investment advisory services which are always bona fide, and we have had instances over the last 30 years that I have been in the industry where we have seen certain irregularities that had arisen, but from my perspective, I have always maintained, I have always ensured that the advice that I have given clients have been bona fide and genuine, and I had built relationships with clients over the last 3 decades, which has been I think the stronghold of being able to rise to this level, because that has helped me greatly in my career growth, in the client interaction, the transactions that I have done. I have been involved with 2 of the largest transactions that have been done on the stock exchange. One is the largest, which is a 32 billion transaction, which remains to date the biggest transaction. That was the sale of Sri Lanka Telecom to Maxis in 2008. And I was involved in that transaction. And then in 2010, I was involved in the transaction where Al Futtaim of Dubai bought the controlling interest of AMW. So those are transactions where people with integrity and honesty are involved in. So where people then accept people. So the main thing is that you will reach a level of acceptance in the industry of people with people who then trust you. So I think as much as I believe, as I said, it's survival. Of course, survival is of the fittest. But I think trust is a very important element in our industry, so that the information that we dispense with is done in a manner in which we do not breach the trust. So that's one aspect of it. The other is, of course, the career growth. Qualifying myself in the spheres that I needed to, and then moving on in the corporate ladder. And as you said, I started as a trainee investment advisor. I think my career journey, if I just give it to you in 2 years, I hope it will inspire young people to achieve or to give them the inspiration that they too can achieve, because I don't think I'm an exceptional person, but I think it was through sheer hard work and with God's grace that I have achieved what I have achieved today. So I started as a trainee investment advisor or a management trainee in 1986, and then I became an assistant manager, a manager, then I became a director, and as I said earlier, in 1998 I became CEO of a stockbroking firm, and then I became the managing director. So I have got these positions over a period of time. I didn't sort of I never aspired to reach these heights, but through hard work and perseverance I have been able to achieve what I have. So I'm sure, I hope that it will inspire the younger generation to know that they can achieve great, or they can achieve a degree of high level in their chosen profession through hard work and perseverance. To get to this position, when I became chairman in 2017, I told people that it took 30 or 31 long years. So it's been a long and arduous journey, and the main thing is that I have sort of been resilient, and I have hung in there even when the markets were down. And I currently hold other board positions as well in other companies, but my focus is the company that I am managing director of, which is Equity Partners and the Equity Group.
Integrity is something very important, and it's inspiring to listen to Mr. Ray Abeywardena. The reason is that he started as a trainee, but today he's the chairman of many important, amazing companies, and that's fantastic to hear. And if you are still thinking that you haven't got the position you want, don't worry. Work hard like Mr. Ray, and one day you will be able to achieve what you really want in life. Mr. Ray, a beautiful river keeps on flowing, it doesn't stop. But the thing is, even though it's flowing, sometimes it doesn't smoothly flow. Sometimes you have rocks and many obstacles in your life. Have you ever had a turning point in your life?
I would say that I have had, I would say turbulence. If you take your example of a river and the flow, from time to time we do, and I think those challenges are good, because what happens is it makes you stronger. It definitely gives you more inner strength. It increases your faith in the God that you believe in, and it makes you tougher in able to. So don't take those, though I won't consider those as something as negatives. At the time that you encounter that, you do feel that you feel sort of stressed. But I think when you look back, you know that those were challenges that were given, or I believe that no challenge is unachievable, or that we will not be provided with challenges which we cannot overcome. So it's sometimes good because that builds character and makes you, also prepares you for the next step in your career, because every step brings about more responsibility. It gives you authority, so you need to be in a position to be able to dispel with that authority in a manner in which you don't become over authoritarian, you know.
When talking about family, it brings a smile to our faces. And when you were talking about family, I felt that you're very attached to your family and loves your family as well. So let's now talk about your lovely family.
It's a challenge because what happens is that since I became the chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, obviously the workload has increased, so which means that it's longer working hours. So what I do is I spend my normal working day, say from 8:30 to about 5:30, attending to my day-to-day duties at Equity, and then thereafter, say after 6, I spend time with the CEO of the Colombo Stock Exchange or any other senior personnel there, discussing matters that are relevant to the stock exchange and to the capital markets at large. So which means that my usual work day has got slightly lengthened, but I have a very understanding family. My children are quite sort of have grown up a bit, so I don't have the pressure of if they were very young, I would need to spend more time with them, but they are growing up and they are quite independent. So yeah, my day finishes unless I have in some official functions to attend to, which also has increased now as a result of the current post. But my tenure as chairman of the stock exchange is for 3 years, so I balance my work with the family life, because I try to keep the weekend, particularly Sundays, I totally dedicate it to church and spend quality time with the family. And I have dinner with the family, or as much as I can as more often than not during the week on a daily basis, unless as I said, if I have some official engagement which keeps me away from from going home early. But whatever activities that my children are involved with, I always spend, I go for them, I spend time, unless I'm traveling overseas. So along with with the responsibilities, the workload increases. So it's a matter of being able to find that right balance, that you don't neglect either. And I think one needs to make sure that you don't, at the cost of growing your career, that you neglect your family, or you neglect your work to spend more time with your family, because you need to balance both. Because if you do well in your career, then you are able to provide for your family, but there's no point doing well in your career if you are not there for your family when one needs you. So it's a fine balance, and I hope I'm succeeding in it.
Highly competitive industry. How do you manage stress?
I mean, it is stressful sometimes, no doubt. The work, the challenges, sometimes the challenges we face in the industry, in the macro economy, the situation that we are currently faced with brings a lot of challenges as well. So in terms of achieving what the KPIs we have set for ourselves and for the company, achieving the vision, those are sometimes we do feel stressed out. So I try to balance that. I'm up early, so I go to the gym, or I run on the treadmill on a regular basis to look after the health side of it. And whenever time permits, I read. I can say I'm an avid reader. And autobiographies is my forte. So mostly, any prominent or any person who has sort of either sporting personality or in the corporate sector, anybody who has written an biography of a person, a leading personality, from Nelson Mandela to world leaders, to Gandhis, and to sporting icons. I buy all those books and I read them when time permits. So that's, I think, a good way that I can balance the stress. Whenever I have time, I read. Sometimes if the book is good, I read late into the night, but I find that that's very calming and stuff. So, and as I said, I watch mostly sport. We watch rugby, my son and I, whenever he's free and I'm free. So that helps as well. And then the family life, we spend as much time as we can. We go out for a meal on a weekly basis. We have family time. As I said, we have dinner together whenever we are free, or whenever we are there, all of us can gather. So that helps as well. So we don't talk about, I don't take my work home. I don't go back home and discuss. I don't take that stress. Once I leave office, it's I don't go and stress them either. And when I'm at home, I don't sort of look at the official part of it. And when I come here, I focus entirely on my work thing. I don't allow any domestic things to dwell on my mind. So I think that's one, as a professional, one needs to be able to balance between one's personal likes and and the official challenges, the expectations that one has to be faced with when you are at senior management level.
You are inspiring personality. You have reached the pinnacle of your career. What is the message you would like to give to our future leaders?
One very specific thought I'd like you and the younger generation to carry is the value of time. You can't emphasize or quantify the value, the importance of time. I always tell my children, and I would like to tell the children of the world, that time is so essential. Time is something that we have no control over. Time flies. If you take the time when we were young, we felt we had a lot more time on our hands. Today the day has gone, the week has gone, the month has gone, the year has gone. Suddenly we know we are into the 6th month and we just think, my gosh, 31st December of the previous year was like about a month or two ago. So time is critical. Don't waste time. Do something all the time whenever time permits. Even if you are reading or do something productive, something that will add value to your life, and because you will never lose the benefit of that. So don't idle. I know a lot of people like to spend a lot of time relaxing. That's fine. Resting, chilling out, that's good. That helps to ease stress and stuff like that. But whatever you do, use it productively so that it will have a benefit to you. So to the younger people, I'll say you need to put in those extra hours, if it's studies, if it's extracurricular activities, to get themselves professionally qualified, which I think is imperative in today's date. And then people who want to go overseas for higher studies, that's fine, but don't delay. Do all that and spend time, because you never know. Suddenly, I mean, in my life, suddenly, I've passed 50 years of age. So you don't really know when you get to those milestones in age until you have achieved that, or it's gone past you. So time is critical. Make the best use of it, especially in your youth. You don't know how important that is, because as you grow older and then more responsibilities come with family life, with your job and the expectations that come as you move on to senior management, you will find that you are more and more compressed, that your day becomes shorter, and all that you want to achieve, you suddenly find that is drifting away. So my sincere advice, from the bottom of my heart, is that the younger generation, and maybe if it's still there's time even for the not so younger generation, that they use or maximize the value or maximize the time that they have to achieve things in life.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abeywardena.
Thank you so much for coming.
It was fantastic having you on the show.
My pleasure, and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. So believe in yourself. Believing yourself is the most important thing. Trust, integrity should be in your vocabulary and also in your heart, also in whatever you do in your life. So remember, be like a diamond. Even though you're a charcoal right now, you can transform to a beautiful shining diamond if you work hard.